So I decided to bite the bullet and pay for the subscription to GDS2 from General Motors, $757 Canadian a year, and I'm going to attempt to install it on my Verus Edge. I do run Ford IDS on my Verus Edge, and it seems to be a little on the slow side, but functional. So we're going to try GDS2, see if that will work. I do have the multiple diagnostic interface 2 from GM already, so that is the hardware required, and this is the software. Well, that didn't work out well. Application was unable to install for some reason, and I know because I don't have the minimum hardware requirements, they're not likely going to give me tech support if I call them. I think I'll try and reinstall it again and see if that helps. Well, doing an installation a second time seems to have worked, so we're going to configure this thing and see what happens from here. So it's downloading the GDS2 version 21.2.08800. So far so good. So it's asking me to select a package to install. Well, I don't really think I need SOB. So I don't think I've worked on one in the last 15 years. The chances of me seeing a SOB here is similar, so we're going to pick the GM Global. So it appears you have to pick what package you want to install. Wow. I assumed it would be like Ford IDS where you'd have access to everything Ford, but this seems to be year specific and vehicle specific. So I'm going to install a 2017 GMC or whatever package that requires. So the installation required a restart, so I am doing that. I see the Snap-on software still loads as it should. Note the GDS2 icon on the desktop, so we're going to close out the Snap-on software once it starts and fire up GDS2. Well, that's interesting, 29 days until lease expires. I bought a year's subscription. I wonder why it says 29 days. Well, we're going to go and try and run this on a 2017 truck. I see it says manage diagnostic packages, preferences, release notes, language, and so on. So this is kind of interesting. This GDS2 software is supported by Ford VCM, which I have, the MDI2, which I have, and a pass-through. Well, we're going to use the MDI2. Well, let's see how user-friendly this software is. Enter to continue. Taking your eyes off the road while using this could cause a crash. Yeah, no kidding. You see that it read the VIN number from the vehicle on this 2017. It appears that you have to install each individual vehicle platform separately. Module diagnostics, vehicle diagnostics, system diagnostics, session manager. Let's go to vehicle diagnostics. I don't know what I clicked on there because I actually touched the screen twice. Well, we'll see what comes up. It's funny how even when it knows the VIN number and it's GM tool, it's asking me about RPO codes. Wow, it's not equipped with this module, this EPG. I wonder how many other RPO codes it's going to ask me about. Seat memory control module version. How am I supposed to know this? And there is a whole list of them. It's interesting that the the Autel Maxi AP200 app asked me the exact same questions, and I had no clue, so I just picked the first one and said enter. You would think, given the fact that it knows the VIN number here, that it should be able to decode that shit from the build, but no wonder the aftermarket can't answer the right questions. Well, this looks like a network scan. That is cool. Yeah, that's a network scan. So over here on the left column you see the status. No suspension control module. It shows trailer brake interface control module in red. And it's created a vehicle report. This is nice. Wow, this is really nice. VIN number, chassis control module, part number, date programmed. So this is the vehicle I was trying to scan with the Snap-on scanner yesterday, and it wouldn't read data from the chassis control module. So it obviously exists, because there it is. Power steering control module, body control module, serial data gateway, human machine interface, telematics, steering wheel angle sensor, inflatable restraint, passenger presence, instrument cluster, and of course no DTC stored, HVAC, trailer interface control, no communication it says. So I don't think it has that. It uses a chassis control module. Vehicle identification number, assist step control. Wow. That looks like the end of the list. I'm going to pause this and browse around and see what else interesting I can find. I don't know what happened there. Let's try that again. Module not detected. I thought it did read it. Well, that's interesting. A few minutes ago it read it, reported it, and now it says it doesn't exist. Man, if the manufacturer can't get it right, how do you expect the aftermarket to get it right? Here I think I see what's going on. There's a K38 chassis control module and a K38A chassis control module auxiliary. If I click on that one, then it reads diagnostic trouble codes, data. Let's look at data. And there's some control module functions. Yeah, here's all the data from this control module. So that could be why it's having difficulty, why the Snap-on scanner is having difficulties, because it's trying to read the chassis control module, not the chassis control module A. Boy, I need to play with this a little bit. You see it's graphical data display, line graphs. DTC display is on a tab up here. No DTC stored. Back. What do we got? Control module functions. Trailer brake control system. Trailer brake duty cycle, trailer brake control signal. That's cool. Well, I definitely have to play around with this software, but it seems to run just fine on this Snap-on Verus Edge, even though the hardware doesn't meet GM's minimum standards. The only problem with that could be if I have to call tech support for some reason in the future. They can refuse to assist me because my hardware doesn't meet their standards. So we'll see what happens. I can always install this software on a laptop. That's it for now. I'm going to play around and see if I find anything else interesting. So I tried to do this yesterday with the Snap-on scan tool and it wouldn't work. That was depressurize the fuel system. So I'm going to see if it works now and if it actually gives me data. Shift the transmitter to park and block the drive wheels. Continue. Okay, so it shows live fuel pressure over here, and it is engine speed, fuel pressure sensor, 330, 340 kilopascals. Okay, what's the next step? Release control. Commanded state, uncommanded. So I'm going to command enable. And the engine just ran out of gas. And it quit. So that would not work with the snap-on scanner yesterday. And I suspect because of a lack of communication with the chassis control module, but I don't know. So then now it would be safe to remove the high pressure rail lines because there's 24 kilopascals, which is just over, well, just about, what, 10 psi or something like that. I always have difficulty doing the math in my head. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so I'm going to try a purge and seal test. Enter. I noticed that if you highlight a data parameter such as this fuel tank pressure sensor and then click this little box here, it switches units of measurement. This is millimeters of mercury and inches of water now. I also noticed that you can look at this in a graph mode with 3 graphs, or you can look at it in a line graph mode. Let's look at it like this, and let's watch fuel tank pressure, which is at 0 right now. Command a 30% purge, and we should see, oh sorry, it's down here, should see the vacuum in the system. Where is it? It's going to abort the test any second because it's too high a vacuum in the system. Okay, let's try this again. Let's bring up the graph here. Venting, purge solenoid, fuel tank pressure, inches of water. So this is the one we want to watch. Let's click 20%. It appears that it's not running. Well, I see it here, but I don't see the graph. And then system seal, but I don't see it graphing. It's holding pressure or vacuum in the tank. How about line graph? Yeah, the red trace here is the fuel tank pressure, and it's holding now. Well, I'm going to have to definitely play with this software. There's a big learning curve here because it's completely different from using an independent manufacturer scan tool. I was playing in the BCM trying some bidirectional controls of the windows and they weren't working, which is frustrating. You know, we blame the aftermarket manufacturer of scan tools for tests that don't work, and here I got an OEM scan tool and some of the tests don't appear to work. I'm sure it could be user fault, but it looks pretty straightforward. Command the left rear window down and it doesn't move. Oh well.